Hello everybody, welcome to GRS Season 3 Formula 1 Round 2 around the Shanghai International Circuit in China this week. The third and final race GRS will be hosting around this track this season, and if it's going to be anything like the other two, we should be in for a treat. Our drivers are now just loading into the lobby. Apologies for the late start. We had one driver with a bit of an issue getting people added on. Probably EA, if it's going to be an issue. EA accounts are usually the ones that don't tend to like getting invites. But yeah, we are here. I fiddled around with volume settings and bits and bobs like that, so if anyone could let me know how I sound, that would be fantastic. It shouldn't be anything too drastic from last week. Just a little bit quieter on the mic so I don't drown people out in interviews is the idea that I've gone for here. So now we just wait for people to leave the pit lane. The track looks a little bit overcast, I have to say. We'll get a full idea of that when people leave the pits. So let's see who gets out first. Looks like an Alfa Romeo. That is Zlok. Taking us through turn one. He's actually got his teammate of Kyron Chef just behind as well. And then an Alpine. Is this the race already? We will have to wait and see. But in any case, let's get some of these horrible looking menu icons out of the way. Do we really need to know that all of our drivers are on soft tyres? Probably not. Beautiful. Yeah, as we'd expect, most drivers heading out straight away for the outlap here. It might, judging by the rush and the clouds in the sky, rain mid-quali session. Because I have to say, all but about 4 drivers make that 3 as the Haas exits the pit lane. They're out on track already, getting a pretty pacey outlap in, I have to say. Everyone is darting around the track, and you have to think if it's going to rain, you might have to start worrying about the people near the back. Clouds don't look particularly inviting whatsoever. China seems to be saying no to F1 racing, at least as far as going fast is concerned. Let's stay on board with Zlok as he comes around the final corner, drops it down to 4th gear. Gets a decent exit as well. See what the Alfa Romeo driver can do, and then we've got his teammate right behind as well, so we'll see what both of they can do. Through turn 1, just feathering the braking and the throttle. Drops it all the way down to 2nd just for rotation's sake. We want to short shift after a couple of gears, just good for a good exit here. Guess one regardless. Go through the pitiful turn 5, braking at around 80-ish meters for this little turn 6 hairpin. Just clip the apex, not going to mount the curb too much. Go through the tricky section of turn 7 and 8 where the rears want to step out and the fronts don't want to bite in. It's very hard to get the car managed, but Zlok seems to have done a pretty decent job here. Look at these corners of hell once again. This is just so rear limited, this section. Tyres get a little bit of a break before they go through one final invitation of torture through the, quite frankly, god-awful snail section. Thank God it's cambered. So I'm actually able to get on the power really early there, so might be for a good lap time here. It's a good exit. Mid-110s at the DRS detection is kind of where I've been measuring lap times over the course of the races we've had so far. Short shifting all the way up to 5th just to get the power down out of the exit off the hairpin through the final corner. Drops it down to 5th gear. It's probably the right gear to be in so they don't spin up the rears. Comes to the line. It's the 32.8 already. Karen Chef does a 33.0. Imchaz to the line with 33.6. To be fair, none of these lap times are particularly bad, and then Ian decides to show us what God can do. That is an incredibly fast lap time by Bilbus in the Ferrari there. Fair play. We've got the two Mercedes coming to the line next. Got Anders going even quicker with a 32.2. His teammate slopping nicely into B3 as well, with a 32.7. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are already leaps and bounds ahead of the other two divisions in terms of quali time. And I can't be thinking that the track condition is the nicest. It might be a bit kinder on the tyres, with the overall track temperature being a bit cooler with the overcast nature that we have. But I've got to say, these guys, especially the top three, really showing us how it's done at the moment. Got Leon Cross, who's just started a lap there. We've got Pangri coming towards the end of one as well. I think these are the last two currently on a lap. Two cars in the pits, and everyone else have been just finished one. So getting a nice, very nice slipstream off of his teammate there. It's well coordinated between the Alpine drivers. Pangri should look to gain a couple of 3/10 just from that alone. I mean, the slipstream in DRS isn't as powerful in this game as it was in last year's game, but it's still a factor. You can't ignore the time gain that it would get. And I think Mercedes are also doing their own slipstream strategy off of the back straight there. Pangri ends up doing a 33... What was he doing? I've lost him. 33 something. Still a decent lap time regardless. Mercedes boys might have been racing, I'm not too sure. They both come into the pit lanes. Oh, they are racing. Nice to see the guys having fun. Trying to get equally on the... What are these two up to? Oh, the Mercedes doubles. Okay, that's how it works. After all of that, Adam Shack gets the no you from his teammate, as his teammate will be first one into the box. Have we got anyone currently on a push lap? I don't reckon so. Pangri's recharging. We've got Ken straight into the pit lane. Hugo Nilsson. I think I want to say he's at a recharge lap and he's pushing again. But then his recharge light is on, so the 34.3 might be what... Well, just about what he's been able to get out of this first set of soft tyres. There's nothing wrong with that. You've got a bank of time in. You are still technically ahead of the 4 drivers who are yet to set a lap time. No worries with that at all. A late joiner of... Good luck pronouncing this name correctly. Reskaper. I don't know. He's on an outlap at the moment. I do love how that McLaren looks. Especially with the tiny little splodge of Gulf blue in there as well. It just looks beautiful. Got Quilpav Vlakovic also on an outlap, joining mid-session. So both McLaren guys here looking to set a lap time. Is Nilsson pushing? He had the recharge light on through turns 1 to 4, but then you're not really using battery there anyway, so we will see as Nilsson comes through the line if he's able to improve or if he's going to bail and go into the pit lane. It's a bail, which is fair enough. Anyway, we've got the first McLaren of, let's call him Quill's teammate until I can figure out a pronunciation for his username. Going across the line right now, diving into turn 1. Track's not quite there yet for that level of late braking, but nonetheless, identifying the limits is just one part of putting a good lap together. China isn't really much of a feature track for any league or, well, even Cody's don't really care about it, as they'll just sprinkle it into the game as and when they feel like it. So I'm not sure if every driver here will have put the practice in. There are more important tracks, especially those who drive across multiple leagues. Probably won't be having to do too much of China, as Quill gets a pretty decent first string of corners as they make the march up to the turn 6 hairpin. Loses the back end a bit as they do get a purple sector 1. That might be the game being generous as they haven't set a lap time yet. I'd imagine, well, depending on how the rest of the lap goes for Quill, they may decide to put the recharge on. and just set themselves up for another. However, they seem to be more committed to the banker time at the moment. Let's just see what they can do. Rounding out through the second snail section of the lap. Finding it tricky to get the power down. Unfortunately, Quill has spun. Just about kept it out of the barrier, so that's good to see. But Anders starting a push lap here, so we'll hop on board with the Mercedes driver currently leading this qualifying session. It's got some traffic up ahead. I think a mixture of cars on push laps and not on push laps. By the looks of things, I think Adam Jack is going to be readying his teammate for another back straight slipstream strategy here, as he's about 7 or 8 seconds up the road at the moment. Obviously on an outlap driving a bit slower. I'm loving the strategy here by the Mercedes boys. And the Alpine boys as well, if they decide to do it again. They may have already done, they are quite close on track actually. Anyway, now we've got Anders negotiating the second sector very nicely. Nice and tidy. Just everything you'd want. Now unfortunately Adam Shack may compromise his teammate a little bit here through the snake section, as the dirty air is definitely going to play a role, but may be able to give his teammate everything back and then some, depending on how fast he's able to go here. Deploying the battery for his teammate here, nearly bump drafting. But that will make a difference. As far as getting up to 200 miles an hour is concerned, the other 10 will still be a bit of a stretch for the other 5, depending on setups. We don't know what the race is going to be like yet when it comes to weather conditions. Clouds are still very much hanging over China right now. Has Anders improved? That's the important question coming up to the line. Not quite, unfortunately. We've got Draxlock in the Alfa Romeo just starting a lap. Johnny Foss coming to the end of his, so we may as well watch. However, that looks to be an aborted lap, or just the outlap glitch that we like to see. Iron's rear end getting a bit happy. So we're seeing drivers struggle to improve on their already competitive, and by competitive I mean very competitive lap times. Understandable. Adam Jack hasn't had the most ideal sector one. He's nearly 2 tenths down. Hugs the apex and does this hairpin quite nicely. I always find if you pull out to the right a bit from the hairpin while keeping the minimum speed up, you do actually gain a bit of time. But that might just be my poor driving style. I'm not one to comment when it comes to these guys. They're all way better than me. Did definitely speak for themselves on track. Adam Jack, unfortunately, track limits have spoken for his lap. Never ideal. Kyron Chef just behind this gaggle of cars is on a push lap though, by the look of things. No he's not. He's on a recharge lap. What about Ken in the Haas? Just starting one here. Just working my way through the grid, trying to get a bit of everyone at the moment. I'll also trying to keep eyes on the tower with Johnny Foss at some point. Put himself up quite nicely to this leading group. There's the 4th car now in the 32 2s and 3s. So the second laps, well, they're not being pumped in as dramatically as I thought. The improvements aren't as much as I would expect, but track evolution around Shanghai, whether you like or hate the track, is a very big beneficiary for lap time. Especially Sector 2, the sweeping sections of turns 7 and 8. You're able to go a lot more flat through 7 as Johnny Foss with a 31.9. Well, it's a bit quick, isn't it? It's a little bit quick. Well played indeed. We've got Kenya. We've already identified that he's not pushing. Nilsson's down on his time as well. So now we'll just wait for someone to do something remotely interesting as far as getting themselves started on a lap is concerned. Everyone will be, well, just about on their final lap now, unless the McLaren driver here decides, let's not do a lap. I think Johnny's pushing again, to be fair. Looks to be, but he's down on his time, so he's not really going to make any improvements here with no ERS. And slightly more worn soft tyres that haven't had a chance to breathe. May as well get the practice in. But he does need to get back to the pits pretty quickly, as there's only 4 minutes left in the session. He needs to get another outlap in. See some drivers now emerging from the pit boxes. There or thereabouts. So hover over the McLaren. See what you can do, just getting enough space, making sure the tyres are within the right operating window, turning the battery on and all that lovely stuff as he rounds. Well, doesn't get the best exit out of the final corner, but keeps the rears in check and keeps it tidy enough. That 42.9 that they've just set would not be very respectable of what they are able to do, I'm sure. So as they, unfortunately, they do overshoot the first couple of corners a little bit and then go wide through 3 and 4 consequentially. Trying to, until you get to the back straight, if you miss the entry of, well, a corner leading up to another one, then the other one's not going to treat you too fairly either, as our McLaren here is finding out, unfortunately, the hard way. However, still a lot of potential in the lap. It's only the first few corners where mistakes were made, so if he can keep the rest tidy, this might still put him in for around or just outside the top 10, depending on overall pace. Sector 2, honestly, has not been too bad. They are 6.7 seconds up on their delta. Absolutely lightning pace compared to their previous lap, as we would expect. Feathering the throttle just a little bit, just to make sure when they get the power down, the power is good. It's got to seem like Quill Pavlakovich just up the road, about to start their lap as well. And freshly emerged from the pits. As has just about everybody else. Huge gaggle of cars all just sort of jockeying for priority on their push laps. I have to say, Rescopo once again a little bit cautious coming out of the final corner. Probably just a confidence thing. Again, not everyone drives a lot of this track, so understandable not for everyone to be straight away, immediately and indisputably on top of things. So we've got Lucas Bauska going through on a lap, last week's P4 race finisher. Looking to level that one out, or at least improve things a little bit. Very nice through turn 1. Mounts the inside curve of 3 a tad. Tends to just wash the car out, so we'll see what his first sector split looks like here. Or we won't, because the game said no. No first sector split for Lucas Bauska, so this lap is shrouded in mystery. Keeps pretty much all the way through turn 7. His foot pinned to the pedal, which is quite nice to see. Belvis does a 31.7. Have you tried not doing that? Last week's race winner, showing why he won the race last week. And got pole. And won the sprint. Just about everything we could have wanted. But anyway, Bauska coming through the snail section out of the last corner has kept it pretty tidy. This is his one and only competitive lap time that he's going to set, so let's just hope it's a good one. I'm probably saying it's going to be around 33 dead. Prove me right. I'm so good at this game. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, I think that's Coates coming to the line right now. Improves by 2.5 tenths, puts him up to P15. Never a bad thing. Even if it is a minor improvement, it's still an improvement. I think we gained 2 positions off of that climb, so, or maybe just the 1. Track's locked. Stopping a bit awkwardly there in the pit entry. And as next to come to the line, he's backed out. Unfortunately, not going to improve on his lap. Mills in the middle sector will sure be catching up to him soon. Kyron Chef's at the moment at the final corner. Is that Nelson coming past now? It is, who's invalidated, unfortunately. Big old gaggle, big old gaggles. Imchaz invalidated his teammate Pangry. See what Pangry can do. 2.5 tenths up. That's the outside curve, but the ride height is going to say, well, that's fine. Goes up to P12. It was P11. There's someone else improved. Liam Cross just about improving to 16th. Ken all the way up to P3. Lovely little lap there. Is it Mills next to come to the line? No, I think the Mills is backed off of this one, unfortunately. I'll get to the driver ahead. I think this is I think it was Johnny. Yeah, that was Johnny. So Mills may have been helping out Johnny there, and pretty tidy P2. Very tidy indeed. So that will conclude qualifying. So I am Bill Bass getting a back-to-back pole position, but Foss resisting quite handily to only be within a tenth of Bill Bass's lap time, which is pretty damn impressive. It has to be said. We'll get the lap times up in a moment, I'm sure. We do indeed. So, top two are on a bit of an island, really. Bill Bass and Foss only separated by 79 one-thousandths of a second. Then you've got a good 4/10 gap down to, well, basically the rest of the grid. I think Bill Bass and Foss are the only ones not to choke on their final lap. Still a lot of fast drivers. You've got Ken getting a lovely P3, and as we saw with pace straight from the word go. Same for Zlock. Same for Mills. Same for Inchaz. Martin Evanoff actually gets into P8. Didn't get to see much of him on track. I think it's just the way that the laps went. Was always just on board with somebody else. You've got Adam Jack and Heinen making the top 10. Only saw down to P11. Kyron Chef P11. He's got some good pace as well. So we should be in for a pretty nice one here. See what happens. We're just waiting for all of the players to join. Thankfully, no sprint race this week. My sore throat would not thank me for that one. As you probably suss, it is just me on the comms. Zeke Lapidge is benched himself. A pretty rough string of things over the last few days, so we'll be wishing him well from the commentator's booth. He's quite lonely in here, especially when you've got still images like this with lobbies starting. That being said, someone did hit the go button on race strategy fairly quickly, which is pretty nice. We got all of the drivers on the grid now. We got 5 red lights. Short hold up and it is go for F1. It looks like Johnny Foss has actually got a bit of a better race start, and then bogs down in the second phase of that race start. He's now being pressured by Anders behind as we go through the grid. I just want to make sure everyone survives. It's all a bit of a snake to commentate on at the moment. Let's just kind of keep a neutral eye on the midfield there, as we've got a few position changes throughout the field. One of the McLarens was going a bit slower at the back, so hopefully no damage for them. They might just be wanting to chill it out a bit. Quill gets a position there. Ivanov makes a pass on Heinen. Retaking P9. He was P8 on the grid, so all in all, everything so far seems to be alright. Still got some side-by-side actions. Kyron Chef's kind of got the box seat for the Adam Jack Heinen battle. He's actually able to go around the outside of Liam Cross there. Liam's not backing out though. Pinches Liam on the apex. Thankfully Liam is able to continue going through. We've got Hugo, no. Nilsson round at the back, unfortunately. And also we've got Ivanov round as well. So a couple of cars just unfortunately spinning out. But what I have been ignoring is Anders has managed to get off into P1. So we've gotten past Johnny Foss at some point, and now unfortunately for Bill Bass, it's gotten past him as well. But I would imagine, if I do my job correctly and pull up the things we want to see, yeah, Anders on the medium tyres. It's about what I was expecting for that increase in pace compared to other cars. So let's have a look at Escobar and Nilsson. Oh my goodness me, we've had a horrible accident on the straight. I missed that one completely. Is that VSC? Are you joking? No. It's our full safety car. I missed that completely. Adam Shack and Kyron Chef probably getting glued together as they go side by side with each other on the straight. See, Adam, the problem is if you say you called in dead and then turn up to commentary next week, then we're going to be asking some questions. The only other question I have is, does anyone pit? Does anyone pit? If I was one of these back-running hard runners at the moment and I had the balanced tyre allocation selected, I would definitely go for 2 sets of mediums. Because the hard tyres are terrible. Absolutely terrible. They pretty much never get better than the mediums until the mediums hit 60%. If the softs were able to go a few more laps, then the softs would be viable. But because the hards are so terrible, you probably won't see many drivers go for hard softs unless the safety car says, well, I'm coming out on lap 20. Then you might. But I think overall, realistically, we are just going to see medium hards or hard mediums. I definitely prefer the hard medium situation, even if the hard tyres are a bit harder to warm up under safety car. I know Anders has got a lead now, but that's just from safety car delta. The advantage of the medium tyres will be able to go a little bit longer. Never a bad thing whatsoever, thankfully for our guys behind who had minor moments. They're able to not be heavily penalised. They'll be able to catch back up to the safety car queue, which will probably be out for this lap and one more. Hugo Nilsson into the pits again. Let's see what tyres he goes on to. I'm expecting it to be hards if he's boxed again, just so we can go on to mediums later. Or maybe even stretch for softs, but again, the hards are awful. Absolutely awful. Got Owen Heinen who's been booted from the section. I'll see if I can quickly invite him. I'm hoping I can. I cannot invite Owen. If anyone is watching the stream, just try and get Owen back in, please, before he loses position. We've got a lap to do it. Unless I can invite him through the game. Let's have a little look. Where is Owen? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I may have even scrolled past him, which should just be agonising at this point. Not a clue. Let's have one more look through. I'm not the best at spotting things. Oh, there he is. I think that's invited in. Thank you, comment section. If only if I'd remembered to look at the stream comments, I would have been able to find him a lot quicker. Ping him another one. Oh, he's in. Lovely stuff! As he's, well, through joining, he's had a little bit of a desync wobble. I don't think there's really any avoiding that unless you opt to hold off on joining until after the safety car restart. That's always difficult when you've got a stream delay to negotiate. Although actually, now that I think about it, that car would jolt back regardless. He'd probably just kill someone if he was joining at racing speed. Still, nonetheless, At least he's back in. So we've only got Hugo Nielsen to catch up to the rest of the grid on the hard tyres. So yeah, he did pit for the hard tyres in the end. Which I think he started the race on, but it does mean he's covered the 2 required compound rule already. So no matter what happens in this race, he'll be able to have basically 2 sets of medium tyres available for him. I wouldn't be surprised to see a late call from the safety car to come in this lap. It has been out for a couple already. But called very, very late in F3, that second one. Scared the life out of me. So let's see. It's hard to tell. I haven't had a pop-up to say the safety car is in this lap. May actually just be saying out for another one as the grid is still a bit spread. Some people dropping off a bit from the rest of the group, so that's great. Safety car will definitely be in this lap. It's pretty much a guarantee. I'd be very surprised if it isn't. So we need some active stewarding from the game itself to call safety cars and things like that. So I think it would have been quite easy to get away with the safety car being called there, and the safety car is also almost being rear-ended by Anders. He's very, very eager to get back on with this one. He knows my medium tyres. Maybe I can stretch these even further than I had originally planned to. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some people in the grid on the mediums who bump the tyre pressures up, and I guess the same for the hard tyres as well. You just want to go straight to softs. As terrible as they are, they only work well for about 6 laps. In those 6 laps, they are electric speed. The new profile Pirelli tyres generally. Every compound is slightly less durable, but I don't think the softs are really that much worse than they were on the 2021 and behind spec tyres. Bit of an odd one. And we didn't have China on the calendar this race, well this season, so they may have in the game decided to opt for a slightly harder compound off soft tyre. Now the safety car is in this lap, so Anders is going to be able to back the field up nicely with a lot of notice as well, which I'm sure he will be thankful for. Just needs to work on keeping temps in the tyres. As you can see, every single hard runner behind is having to work very hard to do. Those tyres are an absolute nightmare to get temperature in, especially rears. And then especially if you run traction control, because you can't just light them up when you feel like it. I think most of these guys are no TC. I think some ABS. I think for the most part. I mean, if you want to be quick around this game, you need to turn the assists off and just get good. Is Anders is gone. Yeah, he's gone. And Draxlock almost had a pass opportunity on Iron Bilbas. I have to say, as far as catching people off guard, Anders did a good job because he caught me off guard there as well. I had telemetry to show that he was shifting order to 6 before I realised that he had gone. Oh hello, we've got Luke Mills going around the outside again here, and fucking Imchaz first behind, watching patiently, hoping that these two maybe have a bit of an argy-bargy sesh. I think Mills will have the room on the inside here. Ken, of course, honouring Luke's car positioning and giving him the space that he needs as they now go up into the turn 6 hairpin, and Mills is just able to carry more speed round the outside, but then of course Ken's still going to get to the apex first, holding the inside line. I think this will be this battle concluded for now, and crucially for Anders, he's managed to get out of a second from Iron Bilbas while maintaining a lot of battery too. So we will just be able to jet off into the distance. I don't think Bilbas is going to be too worried, to be honest. We've only really had 1 and a bit proper racing laps, maybe 2 at this point. So the mediums are still performing exactly how we would expect them to. Got Imchaz fairly closely on the back of Luke Mills here. How is he able to get the Prattler down through the snail section? Not too badly at all here. He is going to deploy some battery, but not enough to really challenge Mills for a pass. Johnny Foss, on the other hand, was thinking about going for a move on Quill and may still do so. Just breaks ever so slightly later down the inside, pinches that apex beautifully. Quill trying to hang it out round the outside, but I think they may have to submit. Johnny gets a bit of a wobbler on though. Quill is able to repass Foss. Good fighting overall, but I think Foss might just be able to get Pavlakovic again, so I'm sure... No, okay. Actually, I think Quill was deploying. They just joined their POV a tiny bit late here. Just the moment they stopped deploying battery. Imchaz still challenging the back of Luke quite a lot. Has to be said. So either Imchaz's downforce is very good, or he is just good through these more technical sectors. Johnny Foss and Owen Heinen and Will Coates for that matter as well. All in about a second of Quill. GRS is going to get enabled at the start of the next lap. Oh no, Anders is gone! I mean, wow. That was a bit silly. Reset to track by the looks of things. Out of frustration, I mean, I get it. I'd be pretty annoyed too. However, it's not going to look very good if you keep doing it. Has to be said. So Anders, unfortunately, is now down in P12, just in the middle of everything. He's going to be stuck in a big DRS train all the way up to Quill in P6. So not the way that he would have wanted his race to go, especially with the tyre advantage. Nevertheless, it doesn't need to be stated, but as far as resetting the track goes, especially in situations like that, where everyone is very well grouped, going through a real limited sector as it is. Not going to be putting them off with a sudden appearance of a ghosted car on the track. So hopefully our drivers won't be doing that anymore. If we hop back on board to the front of the grid, Iron Bilbus very quietly has got a pretty healthy gap to Draxlock behind. About the only car other than Pavlakovic and just the guys running a bit further afield at the back who are outside of a DRS at the moment. So he's just putting the hammer down, I think. Still got a lot of battery too, as well as Locke and probably most people behind have still got. Well, actually, he's Locke and Bilbas are just on a bit of a different planet as far as saving batteries concerned. I think the Ferrari of Martin Ivanov has had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 6. Been passed by Lucas Bauschka. Will, I was worried for you there, mate. I thought you were going to go straight on. Pavlakovic, they are just about able to hold on to the car as they certainly locked up, and Nilsson unfortunately out of turns. That one, 13 I think, 12 and 13. Just getting it a bit wrong and spinning the car. The corner is banked, so it's always a bit of a weird perspective to be pointing sort of almost downwards as you spin. Anders and Pangrio battling here for P11. I think Anders is going to be able to get the move on Pangri, and he goes for an early pit stop. This might just be for clean air. Seconds speeding into the pit lane, unfortunately for Anders, and he chose to retire from the session. Fair enough. If you just want to get out of there, then by all means, thank you for doing it in the pit lane, but I think there would have been more up for grabs in this race. Spinning out from the lead can't be an easy one to process. I think Anders is just preferring to call it a day with China. Might not be one of his favourite tracks, and that might have just been all that was needed to remind him why. We've got Johnny Foss right in the back of Pavlakovic here. Despite dropping time to the others, Quill has been able to keep every car that they are in front of behind them still. So it'd be interesting to see what their strategy is. I think at the moment it has just been deploying a bit more battery. Johnny Floss in the slipstream with the DRS open without battery. They are now deploying battery. This may be one of my biggest gripes with the game, as I will explain after. Okay, Johnny has been able to get the move done on Quill and has been released to chase after Furkan and Chaz in the Alpine car to get back to his teammate just ahead. And I think Ken has actually been able to make the move on Slock. They're going side by side through turns 1 and 2. Slock riding that inside curve just a tad more than I think he would have wanted. Tries to get a switchback on Ken, but never really carried the speed to do so, unfortunately. But that has invited Luke Mills into the fray. Got 3 cars covered by half a second here as they go into the turn 6 hairpin. Number 88 car of Mills just sticking on the back of these guys. Some action behind as well, as you got, well, just about everyone having a go at each other at the moment. Liam Cross, Coates, Heinen, everyone getting a little bit risky at the moment here. However, Coates has unfortunately disconnected or been given the boot. I'm not entirely sure. No, it was just a long ghosting, I guess. The yellow flag here is that. That's him, Chaz. And it's Coates as well. This snail section proving to be a bit of a challenge. I'm not surprised. It's a hell of a corner. But still, it is catching a few more people out than I thought. We've got Rescapur, who's had a quiet comeback in this race, now into the points. He's being challenged by Imchaz here. I think Imchaz isn't going to mess around too much. He needs to get in front of this. He doesn't have the battery to continue fighting. He just needs to settle down in this race and harvest. And McLaren, if he's able to stay close, could just re-overtake Imchaz here. We are starting to approach the pit window, but I reckon everyone will be looking to extend a bit. Pangri has got the fastest lap now, the 35.3. Just behind everyone else in the Alpine. I missed him pit. Hopefully not for damage, but it may well have been. A cute little 3-car train here still of Kenslock and Mills, just, well, probably fighting for P2 here, as Ian has just very, very slowly but steadily been increasing his gap on the field in P1. Depending on how far ahead you can get, the Shanghai circuit is a bit of a leader's track, but if you don't get too far ahead or get screwed over by safety cars, it very much becomes a chaser's track. Big DRS straights and quite a lot of good corners to overtake into, to be honest. Other than the 2 big long DRS straights, you've got the run down into turn 6. And you've also got the little right angle corner into the snail section. Is Heinen boxing off of these hards, clearly knowing that they're terrible and would prefer to just go longer on medium tyres. This was one of the things that I was questioning mentally, but I wasn't sure if I'd see. It's people choosing to do a longer stint on mediums. To be fair, it frees him from the battle and the train that he was in as well, so clear air for Heinen as well as fresh medium tyres. Pretty good idea, to be honest. If everyone else around him, or who was around him, decides to box at a similar time, they'll still continue fighting when they come out, as Heinen probably have a good few laps undercut here. Medium tyre warm-up isn't too bad, to be fair. They're warm after the first 4 corners in China, so never too bad. Got Imchaz on the back of Kevin here. One of the people I need to get added, actually. Apologies for not doing that. That is Kovacs. I will try my best to remember, as Ivanov has had a moment Disaster for the Ferrari driver, but disaster for Heinen as well. The safety car gets called out. Pretty much everyone's going to box here. Same thing happened in F3, pretty much. Safety car gets called out on lap 12 and everyone just jumps into the pits. Now all of a sudden, you've got the top 6. They're all going to go to medium tyres. They're all going to go to the end. They're all going to have more pace than anyone else to go on the hards, which unfortunately... Actually, Liam Cross may have a second set of mediums up his sleeve here, as he is one lap lower than everyone else on the lap count for his tyres. So let's see why that is. There's another set of mediums, I think. Oh no, it's the hard tyres. The mediums coming off the other car in front of him. Right. Everyone but Reskiper and the McLaren, and I'd imagine Pangri in the Alpine are pitting here. And of course, Heinen in the Red Bull is just heartbreak for him. Just going to put him absolutely nowhere. As a spectator though, I don't mind. Because Owen is a very exciting driver to watch when he puts the hammer down and makes moves on other cars. And seeing as he did most of his outlap at safety car delta speed, that 1 lap disadvantage on his tyres isn't really going to be too bad. Really not going to be that bad at all, and to be fair... There he is. He could only lose 1 more position here. If he really wanted to, and the safety car doesn't come in this lap, which I think he might be actually trying to manipulate here by not closing up to the safety car as quick as he probably could. Might dive back into the pits to put on his other fresh set of medium tyres. Just doing some fuel burning while he's at it as well. Just this is his. I think this is Owen's insurance policy to keep the safety car out for a lap. That's what I'm calling anyway. I mean, the game owes him something for giving him the boot earlier, so why not? The safety car has only been out the single 1 lap anyway, so he'll probably just be staying out by default for another lap anyway, so I think Owen will dive in from his other set of medium tyres. I really wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, we've got Reskiper in the McLaren on 12-lap-old hards, leading the race, so he's got the race lead. However, I really don't know if that's going to last long. So Pangri is into the pits, and Owen's deciding not to, actually. I think he's just deciding that burning fuel is all that needs to be done here. Again, you know, as I mentioned the lap previous, most of his 1 lap extra on mediums was done under safety car speed anyway, so... negligible difference, couple of percent. I think as far as this race is concerned, 2% on a medium front left isn't really going to do anything. If Owen wants to get the move done, he'll just get the move done. But anyway, our breakdown is as follows. Reskiper in a McLaren, yet to pit, sitting P1. And then you got Bilbas, Ken, Zlok, Mills, Foss, Pavlakovic, Kovacs, I remembered. Liam Cross is actually the first driver on fresh hard tyres, so one of the only guys to start on the mediums who is still here. Probably worth adding. Yeah, it's going to be tricky for Liam. Just be hoping to keep within DRS and hope the guys in front scrap a little bit. Wait, is Owen underfueled? He is, but it's not flashing. So I think at the moment this is the game predicting he won't be able to go to end on fuel. When I had my race in F3, I was 1.6 laps over and it was giving me the red fuel light. Because the game didn't think I'd go to the end, but it was completely fine. So I reckon he's got enough, if not, tough luck, I guess. Lift and coast. That's all you can do. So we'll see what Rescuer can do on the restart here. The safety car is in the pits already, so he's actually been able to slow the grid down quite nicely. Really warming the fronts up. I haven't really seen much effort go into the rears. It is hard to warm up the rears. Scorching hot front tyres, and the rears probably at temperature, if not a bit cold. Oh, they're cold! They're cold! Oh, that's a 3-second penalty too. He's already lost the lead. I was going to say, it was a bit of a predictable place to do a restart here, to be fair. Either out of the hairpin or out the final corner is what everyone will bite onto, and that's what Ian did here out the front. Ken couldn't to the same degree because he had to react to both Ian and the McLaren in front. To be honest, my personal favourite places to restart are in the middle after the hairpin, or in the middle just before the start-finish straight, as Ken has dived, ran the outside of Rescuer, as has Slock. McLaren's still twitchy. Don't tell me those rear tyres are still cold. It'd be an absolute madness for him if he has. But he's respecting the fact that he's got faster drivers around him. And he's really not putting up a fight as far as... Ooh, that was a bit hairy though. As far as keeping people behind are concerned, he's got Quill behind him now, as he should just let them through. You don't want to be challenging your teammate too much, but I think here is where you decide to park the bus a little bit. Keep Kovacs behind. I know your first name's Kevin anyway, but I'm calling most other people by their last names, and you deserve to be included. Liam Cross. I think he's down one position off of this restart. About to gain one back on the only other hard runner in front of him at the moment. He was originally siding up Kevin. Kovacs. As Imchaz has had to go off track there. Damage? Oh, that is unfortunate for the Alpine driver. Looked pretty pacey, so we'll be hoping for another safety car. If we turn our attention back to the front, or just a little bit further behind actually, we got the man who I said would be making moves and fighting. So he gets past the McLaren of Rescuer, who's dropped 10 positions in a lap and still has to box. Less than ideal. Yeah, Kovacs, if you want your official middle name to be just let me know. But I very much doubt that your real middle name is harder to pronounce than that one, if not. Definitely less of a ball ache to say. Bilbas has not been able to escape the clutches of Ken and Slock and Mills and Foss and everyone else behind as much as he has been able to do on the hard tyres. I think everyone's feel and sense of ease on these medium tyres is a bit more even. A little bit more even. To be fair, I mean, you go from driving hard tyres in China to driving mediums, and you're on a train track at this point. Speaking of train tracks, Nilsson picks up a couple of places. He's he's one of those Japanese bullet trains compared to Greater Anglia services in the UK. Absolute bullet down the straight. Rescuer channeling his inner Christopher Columbus, discovering new realms in the pit entry. To be fair, China pit entry is a weird one. Again, who races around China, right? Who'd do something like that? Unfortunately, after conceding every competitive position within less than 2 laps, he's decided now's the time to put on a set of medium tyres. Could have done that 2 laps ago. He would have been in and around the pack. I guess not. Oh well. Something to take on board, I suppose. Hugo did not steal your wings. AlphaTauri. It says AlphaTauri. they were really Euro wings, Adam, they would have Mercedes written everywhere on them. Absolutely everywhere. Oh, Mills has got a move done on his lock. I tried to ban to it a bit earlier, but I hit the wrong button. Wash commentator is here to stay, I think. Yeah, Mills are able to comfortably get the move done on Drax lock. Unfortunately, Risker is struggling a bit on the hard tire. Sorry, on the medium tires. He's on the mediums now. So, yeah. Unfortunate outlap for the McLaren driver, but we are just going to stay on board with this front pack. Speaking of the other McLaren driver though, Quill, they are slowly catching back up to this. Well, looks like it's going to be a bit of a train from Luke downwards potentially, depending on how much they fight. I think these three in third, fourth and fifth. The Williams sandwich just be looking to keep out of the clutches of Quill. I don't want to risk a potential P3 by offering it to more than just the three of them. So we'll see what can happen. Luke running currently in P3. He did say his chances are maybe a podium in races. He got one last week and he's here for another one now. He's being challenged by Zlock behind, who has he's put the hammer down. Even on batteries, Zlock just uses a tiny bit more as an insurance policy there, and he's going to get the move done. Oh, maybe not actually. He's overshot the apex there, and well, Mills is actually able to reclaim third position. Has to go off track though, as he used a bit of battery and had to brake a little bit later just to make sure he was clear of the Alfa Romeo and Zlock's back through. So, yeah. Despite this, Pavlakovic has actually dropped off a little bit, while the gap to the guys in front has increased by an entire second that lap. Ken barely keeping within Iron's DRS, but I think it's going to be... Wow. I think it'll be lost eventually. Iron's got more battery and just seems to have authority over this race. And controlling from the front this entire time. Hasn't led every lap though, because Reskiver decided to stay out on hard tyres. Paying the price in last place at the moment, unfortunately, but fair play to the McLaren driver. And to be fair, anyone who keeps their nose in, even if they don't have a race that goes their way too much. You never know what will happen. We've had 2 safety cars this race already. Could be another one. Iron has used about 15% of his battery, maybe a bit more, just to make sure he's staying out of Ken's DRS. You've got Johnny Foss making a move on Mills, so maybe just a call from the 2 drivers to swap the cars just to see if Johnny can challenge Zlock. Maybe Luke is just struggling to hold on a little bit at this stage in the Grand Prix. And these guys are all very much evenly matched, but again, you know, it's all minor when it comes to pace differential in China again. I've said it enough, I'll say it one more time. Not a track that's everyone's favourites and not a track that everyone practices. Lucas Bauschka is right on the back of Kovacs here. As he's trying to just pressure the AlphaTauri at this point. No moves to be made in the middle sector. Unfortunately, Furkan Inchaz has had a moment out of that final hairpin. Hopefully no damage for the Alpine. Pangry's actually closing up to the back of Bauschka here a little bit as well. Not bad at all. Bilbas is able to just being able to fly away from Ken now that he's deployed some of the battery. Imchaz choosing to retire in the pit lane. Doesn't reckon there'll be another safety car, and to be honest, there's not really been any major incidents since the last restart, so probably just wants to get out of China like most people at this point. Is Owen going to be close enough to get Quill here? I think under braking they'll be level pegging. Braking at exactly the same point, but Owen has the inside line. Leaves the space for Quill on the outside. I think Quill will be able to hold on to this. However, very compromised into this final corner. Decides not to run back across Owen. Or just out of respect doesn't want to accidentally take out the Red Bull. It does unfortunately cede the position to Heinen, so we'll see if Heinen's able to get anything done as far as catching up to Mills and Foss are concerned, as they are, between the two of them, trying to get the better of Zlok, and Foss has got more batteries. That might have been why the move was made. See if Yoni can actually, well, just get ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Get him offline or something for Luke to follow through on as well. Heinen seems to be dropping Quill a little bit there, and Kovacs is starting to close in on Quill as well. Might be a setup thing, might be a pacing, it's hard to say. Quill is signed up as a reserve, so I doubt would be practicing as much as everyone else for these events. Plus I know they've had tests and things, so and putting effort elsewhere as well. Still, P7 I think they'll be pretty chuffed with, as yeah, just a good showing overall. Go back up to, wow, Foss has got the move done. Good strategy call from the Williams boys to get Foss in front. Only took him a couple of laps to get the move done on Zlok. I think, oh, he did use quite a lot of battery for it, though. I was going to say it might be worth to see if Johnny can get out of the DRS of Zlok to make the move easier for Mills, but he doesn't have a lot of battery to do that with. We've got a nice DRS train forming behind Heinen here. Unfortunately for Reskiper, he's had a moment out of the long right-hander onto the back straight. It's turns 12 and 13. This train is going to be quite interesting to keep an eye on, I think. It's about the only very bunched route we have. Mills is still quite close to his lock. But as we've seen in other races over the course of the GRS streams, 7 or 8 tenths isn't enough of a margin to go. Oh my goodness me! Pangri gets a bit of a wobbler on it, and Lucas Bouter's like, yeah, that's cool, but watch this. And unfortunately, gets a bit of a spin. He's able to recover quite quickly though, and still having a tyre advantage over Liam Cross in the Haas. May be able to catch back up. We will have to see. Liam is almost out of battery, just trying to keep a hold of Pangri. I don't think Liam got DRS this lap. Excuse me as my cold re-emerges. Vlakovic actually able to close back in on Heinen a bit here, so DRS helping out the McLaren driver very much so. Unfortunately, half of the chasing back in this train is since dropped off a little bit. Pangri and Bauschke both having moments. We've got a yellow flag coming out of the last corner for Coates. Everything seems to be okay. Maybe in a bit of a wobble, getting the traction down on the hards. So we've got Reskiper, who has boxed for a set of soft tyres to see him through onto the race. See him through to the end of the race. Hopefully he'll be able to keep it all pointing in one direction just so he can finish on the lead lap. See what people can do. So we've got Mills is just about the closest car, as well as Quill coming through the big long right-hander. I don't think any of them are really in punching distance for a move. Getting it all slowed down here, pinching the apex once again. commentating like it's a quali lap, and yeah, Quill was just able to keep on the back of Owen, going having deployed quite a lot of resources for this track position here. He'll probably just be looking to hold on to it for the rest of the race. So Frost has been able to clear his lock by a second. So hopefully this makes things a bit easier for Mills. I think Mills was just catching up a bit last lap. Let's see if they want to get any closer this time round. Quill still on the back of Owen. It's the same two stories. I wish there was more to cover here, but there's just a pretty decent field spread, and everyone's basically on the same strategy as well. So this is just pace and mistake mitigation at the moment. As we got 4 and a bit laps left to go. See if Rescue on his lap here is able to go for the fastest lap. Just give him a little bit of coverage while we've got drivers not really making any moves at the moment. Only topping out 193 miles an hour though, so his McLaren has quite a bit of downforce on. Are they able to get the fastest lap? No, unfortunately not. Good effort either way. Quill's just getting it ever closer to Owen every lap. May just be harvesting at the moment, but Heinen is smart enough to realise that any lap where Quill's within about 5 or 6 tenths and doesn't get side on, they're just saving battery too. Most of these drivers, if not all of them, are smart enough not to bite onto such a bait like that. And Kovacs is on the back of Pavlakovic now, so if Quill's not able to get past Heinen, then Kovacs might get past Quill. Also, just to mention as a factor in the closing few laps here is Liam Cross's tyres will finally be phasing into this stage of the race. I think this might be the crossover lap, if not next one, in terms of overall pace. It takes a hard so long around this circuit to phase in, just because they are so terrible. So many mid and high speed, just mechanical grip reliant corners to go through that. Well, never mind. I'm never going to use the phrase mechanical grip ever again. Unfortunate for Liam, he was running in the points, so unfortunately it's going to drop him down to P12. It wouldn't be me commentating if I didn't get a curse in every race. Mills is just hunting the back of the Alfa Romeo. It's just never close enough. It really needs to be on the back of Zlop through Sector 2. I notice where, well, I think everything apart from the DRS right at the moment, Mills is just losing tiny increments of time here and there. Happens. I know dirty air isn't as much of a factor in this year's game, but it's still a factor. Yeah, it's not the easiest track to follow another car on unless you have a significant advantage, and it's probably what we're seeing right now, to be honest. Hugo Nilsson gets a 3-second time penalty to add to his troubles. To be fair, he has been quietly just closing into the back of the top 10, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think there would have been enough time for him to do it anyway, but there's also now not going to be enough penalties across the rest of the grid for him to be able to slot in anywhere. I caught Kovacs on a bit of a slide, unfortunately. Oh, man. Unfortunate. So Lucas Bauschke was able to climb up to P9, and Quill's got a bit of breathing space behind now as their chasing rival of Kovacs had a little bit of a moment. And now be hounding Bauschke for the remaining 200 bit laps. Liam Cross has boxed for a fresh set of soft tyres, so he will be punching for the fastest lap, of course, in this league, as well as some others. Drivers outside of the top 10 can compete for fastest lap as well. Gives everyone something to fight for at the end of the day. Also means if you have a bit of a bad race, or let's say connection gets you and you're absolutely nowhere in the race, and it's not all over, gives you an incentive to stay and try for something else. Johnny has actually managed to catch right up to the back of Ken here, and has a 10% battery advantage as well, so might be on for P2, which will put him right back to where he started on the grid, I think. Second or third, I can't remember which. I think it was second. So, see what the Williams driver can do. These mediums must be feeling a bit second-hand at this point, though. Probably had Budget Jeff on the radio to say, yeah, your grit level's starting to go, mate. Have fun. Hugo Nilsson has, well, recognised that he can't score points in the top 10 this Grand Prix, so he is also going to contend for a fastest lap. Right behind Liam Cross, who is now attempting his fastest lap, so we'll have to keep an eye out to see if he's able to get that done. Does Johnny think he's close enough this lap? By the looks of things, isn't going to challenge Ken. Is choosing instead to extend his battery advantage, which is now 20%. Good God. A Haas getting chased down in the closing laps looks a little bit familiar, but in any case, we're now rounding on to the final lap, so Johnny needs to, well, I say get a bit of a wriggle on here. He just needs to stay close to Ken. Just to see, well, I reckon there'll be a chance. He's definitely got an advantage. It's just interesting to see what chat thinks. Will the Williams boys be able to make the moves on their respective rivals? Mills is going to have a harder time as Locke's got half of his battery left, and he's just going to drop it all on this lap. So I think Luke may have a bit of a harder challenge ahead. Foss, on the other hand, stands a pretty decent chance. That being said, Ken's managed to get up to around 15% battery now, so might be enough. It's going to depend on corner exit and wing levels. Liam Cross does get the fastest lap of the 34.6. So let's see. Johnny using a bit out of the exit there, just wanting to hug the back of the Haas car. Just needs to keep it in tight and tidy here. Seems to have done a pretty decent job. Oh, he's dropped the car a little bit. It's dirty air playing a factor there. He's going to go for the move regardless, though. Will he have the run? Ken's now out of battery. Johnny's about to be. He's going to go for a lunge on the outside here. See if he can just hang out around the outside edge. I don't think Ken's going to be too willing to give this one up. Johnny gets caught up on the curve, but I think that is one and done as we hop on board to Bill Bass for his race win. Round China makes it 2 out of 2 for the Ferrari driver, and Ken just pips Foss to the line. There's a bit of hard racing between those two there. I think Foss had the space, but I think his rear left got caught on the outside curve of the hairpin and just, well, made the car a bit more unwilling to put the power down. Slot comes fourth as expected. Mills with a P5, Heinen P6, Pavlakovic 7th, Pangri 8th, Lucas Bauschka and P9. Kovacs does manage to pick up a point in 10th. As we already know, Liam Cross has got the fastest lap. We have got other drivers attempting a fastest lap, but I think Nilsson has actually bailed. So we'll hop on board with Coach, because I don't think he has deploying a lot of the batteries. So we will see if the driver is currently P10 in the standings is able to pick up a point for fastest lap here. Seems pretty on it in terms of pace. See final corner a little bit wrong though, so doesn't quite do it, unfortunately. Don't think it would have been far off. And last but by no means least, Rescapper deciding to stick it out until the end. Probably not the performance he was hoping for. Probably also not the track he was hoping for either. As he's now going to come through the final corner and finish this one out. Weaving as well. Show the stream that he may not have had the best race, but he's still happy to finish. Well, that's that. Games driver of the day is Owen Heinen. I have no idea who my driver of the day is, to be honest. And I can't do a poll, I don't believe. Owen did have a good showing. The front guys had a good showing, to be fair. Bill Bash has held and controlled this race the entire time. Just always had something up on his rivals this race. Makes him very deserving of the race win. 2 out of 2 for the Ferrari driver, and it has to say, can anyone stop this man? Title protagonist. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff from the top 3, to be fair, and basically everyone up to, well, definitely everyone in the points had a good showing. A few mistakes from some drivers, but it is what it is. I love China, but yeah, Pirelli doesn't, and it sucks, but it's fine. Anyway, rounding out the top 10, we got as far as... No, we literally got everyone. Never mind. Liam Cross picks up the fastest lap point in the end, and as suspected, Coates wasn't far off at all. I can actually get the race director this week, which is nice. Beautiful stuff. That's what we like to see. Oh. See if anyone wants to come in for an interview. Give everyone a couple of minutes to respond. If no one decides to, then of course call a nice end to this stream here. I think everyone is just unwinding from the race itself. Lots of chat going on in the Discord channel for the F1 guys. So we'll just see if anyone is deciding that they want an interview. God knows. Absolutely God knows. I'll give everyone about half a minute. I wasn't in a voice channel at the time of asking for interviews. They may not have known where to go. Of course, interviews completely optional. Right. I don't think we're getting anyone in for an interview. Which is, you know, it's fine. I get it. No, I think after everyone having to endure China, probably all had enough of this game for a little bit. But yeah, I think we will call it there for the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure we get some likes on the stream for the YouTube algorithm. For anyone who is new to the stream, be sure to subscribe, as well as we host 3 league racing events every week. And we have a Discord for all sorts of stuff where you can join as a member. Mid-season sign-ups are there for all sorts of other stuff. I think reserves are still open in certain divisions. We host social races and things like that, and we are just generally looking to expand as much as possible. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching. That will be the end of the stream, and we will see you all next week, Monday 7 o'clock for F3 round the streets of Singapore.